So we are going to look at computer networks or computer networking and communication. Now in the syllabus, the title is not networks, it is communication. But for you to understand well the topic, I will combine these two because communication comes from computer networks. And when we are learning communication, we're going to basically be looking at computer networks. That window, shut that window. Now, what is a computer network and why is it important? What is a computer network? So a computer network is a group of computers that are connected together to communicate and share information. And also share resources. Is that okay? Resources, what I mean by resources are things like maybe software, things like hardware devices. Those can act as resources. But the most important thing here, when you network computers, they are able to communicate. Is it okay? That's the most important thing. Now, let's look at how a computer network comes about. If in your home, you have 3 rooms. If at your home you have 3 rooms, you have a room for the boys, you have a room for the girls. So you have a room for the boys. This is the house right here. Assuming this is your home. You have a room for the boys here. The boys have their own computer. You have a room for the girls. They have their own computer. Then you have a room for the parents. They have their own computer. Now, in case the boys and the girls want to pick something from their parents' computer, it means they have to walk and go to the room of their parents and then pick whatever they want from the computer. That is if these computers are not networked. If these computers are not networked, it means that the boys and the girls, if they want to pick something from the computer of their parents, they have to walk to the room and then go to that computer and pick whatever they want. That's if the computers are not networked. But if these computers are networked, what I mean by networking, if these computers have a connection in some way, if they have a connection in some way, like this, it means that if they have a connection, it means that when the boys and girls want something from their parents, they don't have to walk there. They can be in their rooms, be on their computers, and then access their parents' computer using their computers. The boys or girls can sit on their computer, then use their computers to reach their parents' computer without moving. And then they pick the file from their parents' computer. Or the parents can send the file straight from their computer to go to the computer of the boys. Do you understand? That's if they are networked. Now, I say that they can sit on their computers and access their parents' computer without moving physically. That kind of access is called remote access. It's called remote access. Remote access means using a computer system to access another computer system without moving. Are you getting me? Without moving to the other computer physically. That's called remote access. Now, why do we network computers? So I'm going to use a different example now. Why do we network computers? Assuming we have 4 computers. We have computer 1, we have computer 2, we have computer 3, and we have computer 4. Right now, if they are not networked, they are referred to as stand-alone computers. If they are not networked, if computers are not networked but they are on their own, they are called stand-alone computers. Stand-alone. You get me? Now, we are saying that we can network them, connect them together, instead of leaving them to be stand-alone computers. Why do we network computers? Why is it important to connect computers together? What's the importance of networking?
To share files.
1, to share files, good. To share files and resources. To share files and resources. Resources means anything that a computer might want to use when it's operating, like software, hardware. 2,
For easy communication.
for easy communication. You can say for communication. The purpose is communication, not easy communication. Easy communication is the advantage, but for communication. The another purpose why we network is, now here we are talking about to share resources, or I could break it down. I could say to share files, good. Then here I could say to share software. Then also to share hardware. To share software and to share hardware. To share hardware devices. That can also be another purpose why we network computers. Is that fine? Now, the advantages. When you network computers, there are some advantages. 1, communication is very easy. Communication is very easy to do, or easily done. Secondly, computers can share expensive resources, or can share resources and avoid us from spending a lot, I get me, on buying multiple resources. For example, here, if I have a printer, I have 4 computers now. If I have a printer and I want all these computers, okay, if I want all these computers to be printing, is it okay? If I want all these computers to be printing, I don't have to buy a printer for each. If they are standalone computers, when I don't network, it means that I'll buy a printer for this one, I'll buy a printer for this one, I'll buy a printer for this one, I'll buy a printer for this one. How many printers will I buy? I'll buy 4 printers. But then, if these computers are networked, like this, if they're networked and they have another computer here, this computer sometimes is called what? A server. If they're networked and they're connected using another central computer, I get me, or if they're networked in general, it means that I'll just buy only 1 printer. So I can buy my printer right here. I can buy my printer here and put it right, connect it to only 1 computer. When I connect my printer to this computer, it means that the rest of the computers which are networked to this computer can access this printer. So if computer 2 wants to print, is it okay? There's no need of buying a printer for computer 2. Since computer 2 is networked in the same network with computer 3, and computer 3 has a printer, it means 2 will access the computer 3 remotely. Are you getting me? After reaching computer 3, it will access the printer. So it means all these computers can share the printer. So the printer is an example of a hardware device. So in this case, it is easy to share hardware devices, or you could say it's very easy to share resources like hardware devices, and it avoids people from overspending money, are you getting me, with buying multiple resources or hardware devices. Another resource they can share could be software. There's the times when we need computers to share software. For example, in a bank. In the bank, we must use a database to keep records. The software which keeps records of all clients and what they do and their transactions. So you're not going to buy that software for every computer in the bank. Are you getting me? What you do, just install that software on 1 computer, maybe here. When you put that software on this computer, like this, then the other computers can access the software because they are networked to that computer. Are you getting me? So computers which are not connected or networked with this one will not share the software, but these ones which have been networked with this one, they will share the software. So that will avoid us from overbuying it, okay? Multiple pieces of software. Another advantage is that if you have a computer network, instead of you keeping files on your personal computer, you can just put them in one central place.
But sir, if you save your information to the server that one computer, and then like you want to access it, like do you have to go through other files for the other computers, or it personally saves yours for a different computer and one?
No. Here on this, if you want to keep files in a central place, are you getting me? On the computer network, those files, if they are kept there, you can restrict them, who accesses them and who does not. You can either, some of them that need to be shared by all, they will be left for all computers to access. Then those ones that you don't need them to be shared by all of them, you can restrict them. You can put passwords to them. Doesn't matter. But the key point here is that with computer networks, we can be able to keep files or backup files in a central place on a central computer. That is an advantage. Why? Because it helps us to save storage space on personal computers. That's fine? Good. Now next. We're supposed to look at types of computer networks. Types of computer networks. Types of computer networks. What are the types of computer networks? Now, computer networks have got types. We have what to call one, we have what to call LAN, we have what to call WAN, we have what to call WLAN. Types of computer networks. Now they all depend on the way we connect the computer, what we use to connect the computers, and the distance they cover. And the distance they cover. You can hear something small. That. So we have LAN, WAN, and WLAN. LAN stands for the local area network. LAN stands for the local area network. WAN stands for the wide area network. WAN stands for wide area network. WLAN stands for wireless local area network. Now, what is LAN? What do you mean by local area network? A local area network is a computer network which operates in a small area, or which operates over a small distance. But the computers are connected using cables and wires. So on the local area network, what do you mean by what you call LAN? This network here, computers and devices are connected using cables and wires. But the network operates over a small distance. An example could be a computer network in a school. That network only operates within the school. Are you getting me? But when we are connecting the devices, we used cables and wires. That could be an example of a local area network. We have what's called WLAN. Now, it is very, very straightforward that WLAN, or the wireless local area network, comes from local area network. But how different is it? Now, this is a computer network which works over a small distance, but computers are connected wirelessly. Computers are connected wirelessly. Or you could say a computer network which works over small distance, but computers are connected without using cables or wires. Good. We have what's called a wide area network. The wide area network is a computer network which works over a very large distance. An example could be.
They could use also cables, the WLN, the WLAN.
WLAN, I told you, WLAN computers are connected without cables. That's why it's called wireless. Wirelessly.
So first understand.
Without cables.
No, because
Now, for one, we said one, the computer network which covers a very large distance, operates over a very large area. An example could be, for example, over a country, within a town, or even globally, like the internet. An example of the one is the internet. The internet operates globally. So an example of a wide area network is the internet, because remember, the internet is a group of computers and computer networks. Are you getting me? That operate all over the world. Now, what are the advantages of using LAN 1 and WLAN? Number one. Now for the LAN, since it operates over a small distance, it is very easy to monitor. It's very easy to monitor who is using the network. That's for LAN. Now we're looking at LAN. For LAN, it is very easy to monitor people using the network and what they're doing on the network. Why is it like that? Because network operates over a small distance, and also when we are connecting computers and devices, we use cables. So most of the computers are used in fixed positions because they use the cables. So it's very difficult for wrong people to come and use the network without recognizing that they're using the network. So it's less risky. One disadvantage for the LAN, it's quite expensive. It's quite expensive to set it up. Why? Because it uses a lot of what? Cables. So the cables give it an extra cost when installing it. Yes, one disadvantage for the LAN. Since LAN operates within a small distance, and computers have to be used in fixed positions, it limits people from using the network within several positions or places. Are you getting me? It just limits them to only operate in one place. So people can't move to different locations so that use the network. When you move to Wlan, the wireless local area network, Wlan and the WAN, the advantage is that they allow people to use the network from several places of their convenience. That is for Wlan and WAN. People can use the network from several locations. We don't have to be in fixed places when using the network. Another advantage now for WAN and Wlan, it is very easy to add computers to those networks. If you want to add a computer to one of those networks, WAN and LAN, it's very easy to connect computers to those networks compared to when you're using the LAN. That's fine. Disadvantages for WAN and Wlan. 1. Since they operate in different locations, it is very easy for wrong people to access the network. Why?